A rugged fisherman stood at the foot of Mount Hermon, surrounded by pagan shrines and the echo of false gods. And Jesus turned to him and asked the one question that would split history in two. In that moment, something rose inside Simon Peter that he could not explain. Words he had never planned to speak burst from his lips, and nothing would ever be the same again. Simon Peter grew up in Bethsaida, a rough fishing village on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. He was no scholar, no priest, no man of letters. He was a man of calloused hands, salt-dried nets, and early mornings on cold, dark water. His world was small, practical, and loud, much like the man himself. No one would have called him a world changer. Not yet. Peter's life had a rhythm. Cast the net before dawn, haul it in at first light, sell the catch at market before the heat of the day turned the fish. He shared the work with his brother Andrew and business partners James and John. It was honest, hard labor. Then one morning, a wandering teacher from Nazareth appeared on his shore, stepped into his boat, and changed the entire course of his life. Following Jesus was not the peaceful pilgrimage Peter imagined. Crowds pressed in from every direction. Religious leaders watched with cold, suspicious eyes. Pharisees set verbal traps. The disciples themselves argued over who was greatest among them. And worse, the miracles and teachings of Jesus were raising a dangerous question across all of Israel. Who exactly was this man? Was he a prophet? A revolutionary? Something more? Rumors were spreading like wildfire. Some whispered Jesus was John the Baptist, raised from the grave. Others said Elijah had returned. Still others believed a great prophet of old had come back to judge the nation. Even Herod Antipas was asking questions in his palace. The pressure on the disciples was immense. They had left everything to follow a man whose identity was becoming the most debated and dangerous question in all of Israel. Jesus led them all the way to Caesarea Philippi, a place deliberately soaked in pagan worship, where the Greeks honored Pan, and emperors were declared divine sons of gods. Standing in the shadow of false claims and carved idols, Jesus asked them point blank, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" The disciples listed the rumors. Then Jesus asked the question that silenced them all. "But who do you say that I am?" Would any of them dare answer? Then Simon Peter stepped forward. Not slowly, boldly. Something ignited inside him that he could not explain. A certainty that broke through every doubt like light through stone. His voice rang out clear and unwavering. "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." The disciples fell silent. Jesus looked at Peter with an expression no one in that group had ever seen before. Something enormous had just happened. Jesus responded with words that thundered across time. "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven." God himself had placed this truth in Peter's heart. And then Jesus said something that redefined Peter's entire identity. "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Heaven had spoken through a fisherman. In that single moment, Simon the fisherman was reborn. He had a new name, Peter, meaning the rock. He had a new purpose, to be the foundation stone of the church Christ would build. The coarse man who smelled of fish and argued over seating arrangements had just been entrusted with the keys of the kingdom of heaven. His hands had hauled nets his whole life. Now they would pull nations toward God. The transformation was not instant perfection. Peter would still stumble, still deny, still weep bitterly. But this moment at Caesarea Philippi became the anchor of his soul. When Pentecost came, it was Peter who stood before thousands and preached with a fire no one could contain. 3,000 souls entered the kingdom in a single day. The fisherman who once feared a servant girl now stood before empires without flinching. Peter's confession became the cornerstone of 2,000 years of Christian faith. Every creed ever written, every church ever built, every believer who has ever whispered, "Jesus is Lord," echoes that moment on the slopes of Mount Hermon. The question Jesus asked was never just for Peter. It has been echoing across every generation since, landing at the feet of every soul who has ever heard the gospel. The question has never stopped being asked. The greatest question ever asked is not found in any philosophy class or debate hall. It was asked on a dusty road 2,000 years ago, and it demands an answer from every human heart. Not what the crowds say, not what tradition says. What do you say? Because what you believe about Jesus does not just shape your theology, it shapes your eternity. Peter answered boldly, and it changed the world. Your answer carries the same weight. Subscribe now. Tomorrow's story will change your life forever. Subscribe now. Tomorrow's story will change your life forever.